me about that. Can you show it again? Can I take a look at that?
Yes, right here.
So everything is on that device. All of your reading is
Yes,
processed through that.
yes.
Okay,
Now it is, yes.
right.
Like for example, it says close button because it's connected to my computer and it has Bluetooth.
Okay.
So anything that is on the screen, I can be able to read it here in the device, and it has a braille display on it.
How fantastic. And you read all of your books through that device.
Yes, currently that's what I've been doing. I've been reading the my books currently in this device. Because I just got it last week.
Really?
Because they're doing a partnership. The National Library of Congress is now doing a pilot program, which is an e-reading program, that is for people who can be able to read Braille,
Right.
and they get a device, and that device is so that the people can be able to read. The blind people are able to read the talking books that are for the blind library services.
Right.
They can read it in braille. So it's a life changing thing.
So
And
so before you had that, pardon me, but before you had that device, what were you using? A variation of that?
before I had that, I used mostly like audio, or
Okay.
the audio or my smart speaker to listen to the books. But this time, with this braille device, I am able to do it, but physically, it's like you reading print. It's
That's
just that braille is a different writing system.
Do they know what they're doing here, giving you that device? They better protect those volumes because they're going to get an onslaught. Do they realize they have a policy wonk here that is a voracious reader? Are is the system prepared to withstand what you're bringing here?
Well, yeah, I think they do understand that, so that is no problem.
And do you still go back to books every once in a while to the 90s? Do you have your own little uh kind of library of braille books that you keep as a standby?
Well, I know that back then I would get the newspapers in the library, like from the New York Times or different magazines in Braille. I still sometimes from time to time go back and read the different issues that they have. So in Braille, I do have some Braille physical copies of that.
Well, that's very exciting to think the times that we're living in for you to have gone from that in the 90s to this just last week.
Yes, it is. Yes, that's how, and it has improved. It has improved my independence in the sense that I can, for example, if I have to do a speech or if I have to prepare for a presentation, Braille in fact helps me with memorization. Because when you read something, it's like when you read in print, you physically can retain more information than when you just hear it on the screen.
Right.
And another thing is when you read Braille, then you would know like the different formats and the different grammar areas that you need to focus on, and you can more accurately edit documents uh, and presentations, or maybe you can write an email or write different things.
So this is really interesting. The actual tactile process of feeling the words, because you're participating more than just sitting and listening, it
Yes.
actually aids the memory faculty. Is that
Y-
accurate?
yes. Yes. Like I am now doing this interview,
Right.
and and with my other hand I can say, I can read what it says. It says reconnect devices, and that's on the braille display over here.
And so what is the name of this device again?
This is the e-reader.
E-reader.
It's a braille e-reader. It's from the National Library Service that I just got because I got enrolled into the program that they have because New Jersey has just been able to be enrolled in that kind of program
Mhm.
for it's a pilot program. So it's good that people with different disabilities, whether it's print disabilities, know about all these programs, and that's the point of this. See, this is what I wanna. This is why it is important that you develop and establish a relationship with organizations,
Right.
because this is why this because you can get the technology that you need. You can get the braille, like the braille devices that I have, because if you don't have that relationship with an organization that has the different that has the resources or that has the funding or that knows and can provide you with information, even if it's just like a pamphlet about the programs that they have, then you are not able to know. And another thing that I want to mention is communicating effectively. See, and that's important. I just cannot stress this enough. It's important that organizations learn how to communicate effectively the different resources and outreach that they have.
Well, I would imagine that it's easy to remake the wheel unless you're affiliated and aware of these different organizations that are already doing the work. And it's a matter of sharing that information effectively and plugging people in. And that's where you come in. And I'm not surprised that you're again leading the way with this new technology. And I'm so happy to be able to share this on our site so people are aware of it.
Yes, and another thing that I want to mention is I am now part of the Emerge Founding Committee.
I saw that. Could you tell me a little bit about that? What is that?
Oh, it's a committee, and it's it's the only one that is 100% New American majority, and it's where people of all different diverse backgrounds are able to be able to help emerge, and not only help them but also be able to recruit more women so that they can be able to run no matter what diversity, no matter what background they come from, whether it's a disability or race or any other background that is that they have, they can become empowered so that they can be able to run for office. And we need more because we need more women in the political landscape.
Are you planning to run anytime soon?
Well, I was maybe in 2 years or
Okay.
more.
Okay. Just figured I'd check. Just checking on you. Of
I know. Yeah, thank you for that for checking up.
course.
No, and I have many other. I'm part of their committee, of their founding committee for Emerge, and I'm glad to be part of it because they are the ones who have trained me, and they are the ones who have really supported me in, and not only me but also a lot of other women, so that they too can become more empowered to be leaders in their community.
I think they supported you, if I'm not mistaken, when you ran for office. You took an historic run for office a couple of years back, and we won't forget that race, school board race. And it's appropriate that we should speak in April because you were running in April.
Right. Yes. No, it was a challenge, but I learned key lessons about that. I learned some key lessons when I did that.
What did you
And
learn?
I've learned basically that you're supposed to have more connections with the community. That's one of them. Another thing that I am still learning, And I have learned also by doing a lot of other things and getting involved in different organizations like the climate reality, and now doing this virtual event that I did last week, is that you have to have allies, and you have to have people that can have your back, because if something if something doesn't seem right, for example, and the other person could just go step in and say, "Oh, hey, this is not right," and they could support you.
Well, that's interesting, and again, timely because, in fact, and I know you're fascinated by Newark politics. I'm covering the West Ward race now, and in many ways, it's a contest among organizations. It's not individuals. It's people who are comparing the depth and breadth of their organizational work. Getting back to your point about really the central value of organizations, we're seeing that in this ward race where really it's the most organized person ultimately and the person with the most long range experience in developing an organization who's probably going to win the race.
Yes, it's more okay. Who has a more organized campaign? Who can
Right.
do who can who has the most support from the most people,
Right.
basically.
Priscilla, no one's ever going to beat your story. Like you have the story, you have the education, the preparation, and it's interesting that we should have this conversation now because really, if you're getting organized, we got to all watch out because that when you look at the last contest, that was, I get it, that was probably not your strong point in that race.
Well, notifications menu, press. I would say that it was a challenge because it was for me. That is like a first. That was a first. But now that I've learned many other lessons, and now with doing this event that I did, and now that I am part of the founding committee for Emerge, and I am more established now in the different organizations and spaces that I have gotten involved over the years, then I have more of a firm ground. I have more of a firm stance now than what I did before. So
Mm.
I feel like even during these challenging times that happened during these years, I feel like I grew.
Mhm. We talked as we were coming out of COVID. We had another Zoom call, you and I, and you talked about that, and you talked about being able to hear the birds, for example, sing for the first time in a long time because we weren't interfering with their environment, and perhaps we gain a new perspective, hopefully, that makes us stronger. And listen, we're always just so honored to share your story and to speak with you and to learn from you. And I just want to thank you for holding this latest forum and then for being so gracious with your time as to follow up with me and to tell me something about it. And just really eager to watch you with the work you're doing and the next stages of your career.
Yes, thank you so much for taking your time out of your schedule to do this, because I think it's important. I think that it is important for not only people in New Jersey to know about this, or people all over the United States to know this, but also even at the international level. It is important that people know about how to really advocate in their own communities, for the people with disabilities. And that's why I am grateful to be part of different organizations, including Emerge, and including the one for climate reality, and different others throughout the years, because they are the ones who provide the support. And also, I am grateful for the technology that I have, because with the early exposure, you it is critical for children to have early exposure
Mhm.
to technology, especially those that children that have disabilities. They need early exposure so that they can be able to adapt better. Because it's not the same. It's not the same to have children that don't really have much exposure to the different technology or the different ways in which they can become more independent. Even though in some occasions you need assistance from the family or support, but if you have the education, then it facilitates a lot of things.
Well, I always associate you with education, and as to the organization, I think that not only are you helping people with disabilities, but just people who are interested in organizing politically can learn from you and your story. So again, I want to thank you, and I just look forward to continuing to cover you and also to continuing our conversation, which has been so substantive over the years, Ms. Garces. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you, thank you for this conversation, because these discussions, I think, having these much needed discussions, and it's needed because before I forget, I'm participating also in an inclusion summit where they discuss about the different discussions of different topics in relation to people with disabilities, and it is important, and it's like a whole week, and they discuss about uh, fire, about rescuing in natural disasters, and different areas that there's much needed work, and nobody touches about those topics. So I'm glad to be able to share what I have learned, and to share about what I am doing when it comes to helping organize and contributing through leadership. So
Thank you, my friend, and we'll be sure to get that in there. And thank you for your time today. I'll talk to you soon.
thank you, Max.
Bye now.